Welcome. This is a special briefing from HDIN Research. Today, we're looking at the global shipbuilding industry, which is entering a new golden age. But, this isn't your typical boom and bust cycle. What we're actually seeing is a fundamental reshaping of the entire market, and it's being driven by three huge forces: technology, regulation, and, of course, geopolitics.
Okay, let's just dive right into this quote, because it really gets to the heart of it. The key takeaway for today is that the market has fundamentally shifted. We've moved past those simple cycles of supply and demand. Now we're in a new, really profitable era, one that's defined not just by how many ships can be built, but by who can build the right kind of ships.
And what's truly remarkable is that this new era is almost entirely dominated by just one region. Asia now accounts for over 90% of all global shipbuilding orders. Think about that. That's an unprecedented concentration of industrial power.
So the big question is, how did we get here while the industry is experiencing what can only be described as a historic boom? And I'm not talking about a minor uptick. We're seeing order books that are full for years and years into the future, really creating a golden age for shipbuilders.
This kind of unprecedented demand gives shipbuilders incredible pricing power. With production slots completely booked out for the next 3, 4, even 5 years, the whole conversation has changed. It's moved away from those competitive price wars and is now focused on picking and choosing high-margin, high-value contracts. So, what's really fueling this incredible boom? It's not just about more trade. The real engine of change here is a non-negotiable global mandate for decarbonization, and it is completely transforming the entire maritime sector.
And a perfect example of this is a regulation like the EU's emissions trading system. It's essentially turned environmental compliance into a direct and pretty significant operational cost. And this isn't some problem for the future, it's happening right now. All of a sudden, older, less efficient vessels have become a huge financial liability, and it's forcing ship owners to modernize their fleets fast.
And this chart just brilliantly illustrates the industry's response. In 2024, a staggering 70% of new container ship orders were for dual-fuel vessels, ships that can run on cleaner alternatives like LNG and methanol. The market isn't just adapting, it's pivoting at an incredible speed.
So here's the crucial point, right? It's no longer about just having a shipyard. It's about having a shipyard that is capable of building the complex, technologically advanced, green tech ships that the world is demanding. That is where the scarcity and all of the value lies now.
Naturally, this kind of shift creates a whole new competitive landscape. With the rules of the game completely changed, a few key nations are now in a really intense race to dominate this high-stakes market.
If we look back at history, shipbuilding dominance has steadily moved from west to east. It started with European leadership after World War II, then you had the rise of Japan, the challenge from Korea, and now we're in the current era where China is firmly established as the global leader in sheer volume.
And looking at the 2024 numbers, that concentration is just stark. China holds over half the entire market in terms of output. South Korea is a strong second, with nearly 30%, while Japan and the EU are, they're a long way behind. The market at the top is effectively a duopoly.
But, and this is a big but, volume doesn't tell the whole story. The two leaders are pursuing very different and very deliberate strategies. China is leveraging its immense scale, its cost controls, and a big push for full industrial chain autonomy. South Korea, on the other hand, is focusing on technological superiority and those high-value vessels, like LNG carriers, pursuing what it calls a super gap technology strategy.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because this scorecard breaks down those national capabilities. You can see the clear split. China gets a perfect 10 on market share and capacity. But then, look at South Korea. It matches China on the technology level and actually leads in R&D investment and profit margins. It's a classic battle of scale versus specialization.
Of course, other nations aren't just standing still. They're busy carving out their own specific niches. Japan is going through a deep consolidation, focusing on automation and the ship repair market. The EU is holding on to its dominance in highly complex vessels like luxury cruise ships. And in the US, we're seeing an attempt at a policy-driven revival of its commercial shipbuilding, mostly to support its naval industrial base.
So, what does this all mean for the bottom line? Well, this new environment, with high demand and huge technological challenges, has triggered what the industry is calling a profit supercycle, especially for the most technologically advanced shipyards.
And the numbers, they're just astounding. Korean shipbuilders are forecasting operating profit margins for 2026 that would be the envy of almost any industry. I mean, look at Hyundai, expecting up to 15%. This is the direct result of their high-tech, high-value strategy really paying off.
This really reveals two totally distinct financial models at play. South Korea is successfully capitalizing on what we can call a technology premium. They're effectively turning the cost of environmental compliance into higher contract margins for themselves. China, on the other hand, is showing remarkable financial resilience through its control of the supply chain and just sheer manufacturing efficiency.
But it's not all smooth sailing from here. Despite this golden age, there are some pretty significant risks on the horizon, geopolitical and economic headwinds that could reshape this landscape very, very quickly.
Geopolitical factors are now influencing orders just as much as pure cost does. For example, the U.S. 301 investigation into Chinese shipbuilding is causing some ship owners to de-risk their future orders by placing them in Korea and Japan instead. We're also seeing this global trend towards national industrial policies and friendshoring, that is, shifting supply chains to allied countries. And on top of all that, you've got critical labor shortages and the ongoing impact of disruptions like the crisis in the Red Sea.
And so all of this leaves us with a central question for the industry's future. As the world races to build the zero-carbon fleets of tomorrow, will it be China's massive scale that wins out, or will it be South Korea's specialized high-tech approach? That is the key variable to watch in the coming decade.